Hello, hello again. So, today we're going to start working on our group projects, which is going to be a little bit different than this test prep. So, while your mountain got shorter, right? It's not as high, you have less things to study. You still have a tremendous amount of science that you really need to have at your fingertips pretty sufficiently to answer whatever questions they're going to throw at you. So, I am going to keep leading you through practice questions, test prep, making sure you're answering the short answer, long answer questions well. But then you in groups are going to start working on something that should act as a review for everyone. We would have been doing this in class together, but now that we're home, it's almost like all of the resources, tools, and internet-based learning you were already doing this year, you can now do on your own, and you can figure out ways to make sure everyone knows what they need to know for this test. So, for the big group project, here it is. I'm going to be assigning people to different units of AP Biology to make your own study guide that you will then have to share out to everyone else in the class. And your classmates will grade you on how good it is. So, be ready for that. Don't worry, I won't let anything crazy happen, but it's going to be the kids that actually are using this, the students that are actually using your study guide that are going to tell me which one's the best, which one's the worst, who deserves 100, who deserves 99. And if you don't do this, you will be held individually accountable for the section that you are assigned, and you will get a 0. This is going to count as a test, okay? So you don't need to be the best one to get a very good grade, right? But if you don't do it, you will get a 0, and that will drop your grade significantly for the last marking period and for the end of term 2. So I don't want that to happen. This is just a way for you to get studying. And by doing one of these topics specifically, a certain section of the textbook specifically, and finding all the resources online for that topic, you're learning just how in-depth you need to go for all of the topics. Okay? Now, as far as units, we only have 6 units, and here they are. The first unit is straightforward. It is the chemistry of life, and that's all the beginning stuff that we learned about. Second unit is cell structures and functions, and that's where we're going into the parts of the cells. How's it work? That's diffusion. That's all that stuff moving around. Next up, unit 3, cellular energetics. You got it. That's photosynthesis. That's fermentation. That's respiration. That's all those types of things. That's enzymes too. Fitness is also in that topic too, which is a little bit strange, but yeah, whatever. Unit 4, cell communication, cell cycle. Okay, so that has to do with how cells talk to each other. It also has to do with the feedback mechanism inside cell structure, cell cycles too, which again is how fast cells divide and how they keep in control. That's around beginning of December we were doing that. Unit 5, onto heredity, which is all meiosis, this is inheritance, this is Mendel, this is non-Mendel genetics, this is all that kind of stuff with like environmental impact on phenotype. There's a lot here. There's a lot to all of these, and I'll be sharing with you the resources you need to figure out who does what. Last up, your last unit, it's genetics, gene expression and regulation. So that's your DNA, RNA. Right? That is your replication, transcription, translation, gene expression, mutations, and yay, biotechnology, yay. Hopefully that saves us all. Ladies and gentlemen, it will be a lot of work to dig into one of these topics specifically. I will be assigning certain students to certain units, and then you will split up the responsibilities appropriately amongst yourselves. But I'm trying to make it that no person has to do more than about 1.5 of these little topics or these chapters. Okay, remember, you'll be graded individually. This will be due. We want to have a lot of time for everybody to make sure they get to actually use these. So I'm going to say. You'll have at least an entire 7 days of time to do this, okay? And then that'll leave everybody with at least 2 weeks to actually use your study guides and grade you, okay? I will be writing out a very specific instruction for what I need, and then it'll be up to you to figure out your own stuff. Some of us during quarantine have been figuring out how to make YouTube videos. Might not be the worst thing to look into. I don't know if just having 50 links on a document is really the best way to study. And please keep in mind, as we do the study guide, yes, you can link to all these different resources you're going to find and all the things we've used. You could also ask me if you need anything. But I really want to make sure you know that this is not just for reviewing. You need to have the scope of the free response questions coming, okay? Which means you have to talk about data and how we can see it in that topic, okay? Some sort of problem that's going on, or setting up a lab on these topics. So that means you could look into the labs that were done on these units as a direction to dig into. And lastly, if there's a disruption in one of these areas, so whatever your unit is, you should be focusing on, okay, this is what it could look like in a lab, this is what it could look like as far as practice of this science in this field, and then what if something is going wrong with one of these areas in your body, or in a lab, or in the environment, okay? Keep that in mind. Don't just do this to try to memorize everything from the year. Do this specifically so that you can see how it might show up on your AP exam. Okay? I'll be sending out information through Google Classroom and through PeoplePath, giving out your basic group assignments and the things I need, and then it'll be up to you guys to communicate, work together, and do what you're doing. This is not the only assignment that you're going to be responsible for the AP Biology class that you are in. If you're having an issue with other people and workloads, you can reach out to me directly. If you're in a Regents class and no longer has a Regents, and they're making you do 1,000 times the amount of work as this class, maybe for a little while that should shift as we're getting you ready for the AP exam. That does not mean don't do your work. That does not mean be mean to your teachers. That means talk to me if you need a little help to make sure that everybody knows we're on the same plane to make sure you do the best you can on your AP exam. All right? I'll be reaching out to you.